I watched her from across the room, the sound of her laughter weaving through the air like a melody, radiant in its deception. She had no idea that tonight, the world she so carefully controlled, her life, her lies, her future, was about to collapse beneath her. She used to tell me I was too predictable, too trusting, and she was right about one thing. I trusted her. That was my only mistake. Marriage, they say, is built on trust, on love, on loyalty. For 10 years, I believed that. For 10 years, I believed in her. Lauren was the kind of woman who commanded any room, who turned heads with every step she took. She was magnetic, undeniable, a force that drew people in, including me. But what I failed to see back then was the truth hidden behind that smile, behind those whispered reassurances. Beneath the charm and the beauty was something else entirely. A woman who never saw me as her equal. To her, I was a resource, a means to an end. I built our life with my own 2 hands. The house, the cars, the vacations. Every luxury she indulged in came from my effort. But somewhere along the way, my devotion became invisible to her. I was no longer a partner, just another fixture in a home I had paid for. And then one day, I discovered the truth. It started with a single text, a message that wasn't meant for me. I can't wait to see you again. He has no clue. A smiley face. Casual, effortless, as if the betrayal meant nothing at all. That night, as she lay beside me, wrapped in the sheets where we had once made love, I stared at the ceiling, my mind burning with the weight of realization. She wasn't just cheating. She was mocking me, laughing at my trust, at my blindness. The rage that should have come never did. Instead, something colder took its place, a quiet, calculated certainty. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to dismantle her world, piece by piece. I started small, subtle. She had always thought of herself as untouchable, careless in her arrogance, oblivious of the fact that I was watching. I hired a private investigator. I followed the money. There were secret accounts, hidden transactions, breadcrumbs she had never expected me to find. And the man she was seeing? A colleague. Predictable. Pathetic. I copied everything. Documented every lie. Every betrayal. And then I called my lawyer. The accounts she thought were hers? Frozen. The credit cards? Canceled. She only realized something was wrong when her platinum Amex was declined at one of her high-end boutiques. I watched her from the doorway as she fumbled with her phone, frustration tightening her perfect features. The first crack in her world. That night, she came home angry, ranting about the bank, about how these things happen. I just nodded, pretending to listen. She had no idea the walls were already closing in. 2 weeks later, she threw one of her lavish parties. The house was filled with her friends, her colleagues, people who saw her as a perfect wife, the perfect hostess. I let her bask in it, let her believe she was still in control. And then I made my move. I stood, raised my glass, and smiled. A toast, I said, my voice calm, to Lauren, a woman of ambition, a woman of many secrets. She frowned, her champagne glass freezing midair. I clicked a button on my phone, and the room fell into silence. On the massive screen behind me, messages appeared. Her texts, her lover's replies, bank statements, hidden accounts, intimate photos she had thought were safely tucked away in her phone, gasps, stifled whispers. Her friends stared in horror. And then the final blow, a video. Hotel room footage. Time-stamped. Undeniable. I watched as the color drained from her face. This isn't. Save it, I said, setting my glass down. I'm not interested in your excuses. She lunged for my phone, but I stepped aside. You always thought I was weak? I murmured, just loud enough for her to hear. You always thought I'd never fight back. She trembled, her breath uneven. You drained our accounts, I continued, but you didn't know about the trust fund I moved everything into. You planned to leave me with nothing, but you never realized. Our prenup only benefits you if you remain faithful. The whispers in the room grew louder. Without my money, without my name, what did she have left? Her hands clenched into fists. You think you can just... I already did, I interrupted smoothly. The divorce papers are filed. You get nothing. Her lover, he wasn't at the party. Earlier that day, an anonymous tip had reached his company's HR department. Affairs in the workplace tend to be frowned upon, especially when they involve fraud. He lost his job. His wife found out. She took the kids and left. Now he was just as ruined as she was. Lauren turned to her friends, searching for an ally. But no one met her eyes. I walked past her, pausing just long enough to whisper, "Enjoy your new life." And then I left. In the weeks that followed, everything crumbled for her. The friends who had once adored her, gone. Her job, gone. The apartment she tried to rent, denied. No financial stability. She called. She texted. She begged. I never answered. I had nothing left to say. She thought she was untouchable. Now she was nothing.